on.
Yep, it's up there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first ever edition of Maul's Balls and All, the breakdown. Tonight we have Matt Boland and Peter Martin with us. I'd also like to thank Mr. O'Byrne for thankfully doing this nice sign for the new show here tonight. We are still waiting potentially on Richard Holland joining us and maybe James Grennan as well. Matt, I'll come to you first on the first of our weekend games. Ulster versus Leinster. Leinster winning that 27-20. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, I mean, to be honest, I was quite nervous for Leinster because the last time they went up, they were beaten in Ravenhill. So, you know, like it's always a tough place to go, but you know, they did well. They stuck it out, won by 7 points in the end. I think there was a few good players. Larmour had a good account of himself, and Jimmy O'Brien actually played quite well. So forwards, they were struggling a bit, I think, at scrum time. Ulster were kind of seemed to be getting on top of that, but look, you know, a win's a win, you know, and on the road, like, and a bonus point win, as a matter of fact. So, like, I think I do feel Ulster were unlucky. They did play well, you know. They've definitely turned a corner since Richie Murphy has come on, and it's great to see, you know. And they were missing a few players as well, I suppose, with the Ireland games going on, as well as Leinster. But you know, it still doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it was a good game. Couple of to be honest, I thought people were giving out about the ref and some of the decisions, but you know, I thought they were all right. You know, I didn't think there was anything major bad there. I know there was 2 yellow cards, Deeney and Timoney. Yeah. But when they reviewed them and they were going through the review process, they were quite good and quite clinical in the way they explained it. And there was mitigation, and I do believe that there was mitigation in both of them. So I think they did quite well. And we saw it the same. I know we'll talk about it later, but the Irish game as well, like there was good mitigation and good explanation from the refs, and that's what we want to see. You know, you don't want refs just making a decision and it not being the correct one. At least, you know, when you hear something going to the TMO and then they say, okay, look, this is an important part of the game. We need to get this right. Let's look at it properly and make the decision. So I've no complaints. You know, going to Ulster and getting a bonus point win is no mean feat, and we're still 7 from 7, I think, now. So that's good going.
Peter, I ask you your thoughts on the Ulster-Leinster game there.
Yeah, I watched most of the game. It started off like Ulster got a great start through that try with Carson. It was ultimately a little bit of poor defence, I felt, by Leinster for that try for the try that came in. Like they're showing Ulster are more attractive to watch as a neutral fan. They're a great team to watch. I think Aidan Morgan has basically brought something to them in the 10 jersey that Billy Burns wasn't bringing. They had two young centres in Postlethwaite and Carson. I think those two lads were part of the under-20s there a few years ago. I think from one of the COVID years, they had played childhood. There were childhood centre partnership going all the way up, I think, from my best recollection. So they were pretty good as a combination. You know, like Postlethwaite has a good offloading game. He's a big guy. Carson is a bit livelier, has a bit of a step about him, and is quite physical as well. So they complemented and dovetailed quite well in the centre. Ultimately, I think, you know, Ulster or Leinster had more quality, you know, on the pitch. You know, as the game went on, you know, they came back into it. Leinster came back into it. Their combinations were just a little bit slicker. Luke McGrath getting a very good try under the posts. There, I think it was in the second half of the game. That was poor defence from Ulster. Like Carson was the guy who he was caught in a little bit in no man's land in front of the post, like the stick or twist as regards which man he was taking. Timoney, you could argue as well, was quite slow off the scrum, but there could have been a little bit of a tweak there in the scrum as well. I think Slimani managed to get the nudge on, and it created that little bit of space perhaps for McGrath to pick and go. But ultimately, I think it was like it's a try that, you know, Ulster won't be happy with. You know, Murphy won't be happy going doing on the Monday review. Look, Leinster just went to the bench then, as they do, and you know, Snyman came on.
And what a bench!
You know, what a player to bring on.
Absolutely.
Ulster, and you know, with their injury issues, had suffered some significant injuries early on in the game. You know, and it's like like their bench was thin. Let's call a spade a spade. It was thin, and they were kind of limping towards the end. You know, like they you know, who they brought off the bench didn't have the quality. There wasn't much of an impact. John Cooney came on, and he was only injured when he was only on the bench a short time when he got injured. He got, you know, I think he got a bit of concussion there as well. You know, it didn't end well for Ulster. Like, you know, it was, but they made like the scoreline ultimately in the end of the day, it was 7 points, but it was a combination of Ulster, you know, not being a bit being a bit unfortunate with injuries, and Leinster just weren't quite firing. I think they were stuck in second gear throughout much of the match. You know, there was only glimpses of the real quality that we know that they have.
Yeah. Richard, thanks for joining us anyway.
Yeah, no matter how he's doing.
I just want to say hello to Christopher Goff there anyway, and good evening to you as well anyway. We're just talking there about the Ulster-Leinster game. Leinster win that 27-20. Did you see the match or anything, Richard? Or
I seen bits and pieces of it. From what I did see, it was quite a strong Ulster team against what would be classed as a Leinster third team. And I'll be honest with you, the class was there anyway. I don't think they were ever going to lose it. Injuries did kind of fuck up Ulster. Again, it goes back to my absolute hatred of 5G pitches, in my view. Very preventable. It's so easy to roll an ankle or a knee on a 5G pitch. If your foot hits it wrong and there's a fella coming in to tackle you, you're in trouble, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, but look, Leinster never they never looked like losing that one. I'll be honest with you.
Two questions I have as well regarding it is the Deeney yellow card. What happened there? Because I didn't see the game.
I didn't see it myself.
Matthew, see what was the story with the yellow card there for Deeney?
Jesus, I'm just trying to rack my brain here. Can you? I honestly can't remember what it was, but from the way that the officials went with the Timoney red card, which I remember more.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't know why, but again, it was the process where the refs explained the reasoning behind the yellow card. I can't remember. I think it must have been something. I think it was a clash. It was a clash of heads or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Pete, can you remember? Can you fill it in? Go on, jump on there. Clash of heads. So look, a clash of heads.
Yeah, I think it was basically it was a clash of heads. I think that was the one with Morgan.
Yeah,
right in saying that was the one with Morgan where it was just basically the ball kind of went loose. I think Morgan was carrying it, but he was kind of rising, and Deeney was coming down, but he was just because he's a big guy, just didn't get the timing right. Yeah. And look, as you said yourself, the process went through, and it was yes, it was a yellow card. You know, that was it. Like it was to the bin for 10 minutes.
Richard, I see Peter Burke is agreeing with him regarding 5G pitches.
Yeah,
it's never been brought in. Worst idea in the history of worst ideas.
Well, what put me off a 5G pitch I was playing on, well, it would have been a very early 3G pitch even, and I came up with a carpet burned there and a carpet burned there from a scrum, so I kind of put... That was right fun. That was right fun to shower that night.
Yeah,
the floodlights were off when that happened.
Yeah, it's true. You can even still feel
I,
it in the
I
shower
think
that
back
night.
then,
What the fuck is wrong?
I think back then that they were much worse than what they are now, but they're still not great. I mean, like they're still artificial. So we all know what it's like to go down on a proper artificial pitch. It tears you to shreds, and especially when they have them little fucking black bits in it to, for whatever reason, I don't know, and it just sticks to you as well. But I think with the grass and the artificialness, they're trying to make it as best possible, but it's still kind of shit quality. And as you said, like if you're running and you kind of go over on your ankle, if somebody's coming in on you, you're absolutely screwed.
Yeah, that's it. Like you're done.
100%.
Yeah. The Nick Tooney yellow card. What was the story with that one, Peter Martin? So yeah.
Oh God, you put me on the spot.
That
I think again it was. I think again it was just. It was. He was a touch high.
Yeah.
From recollection. And look, Owen Cross, the referee. I think he's actually. He's. I think he's potential to turn into a very good referee. Because he tends to make the decisions fairly quickly, and communicates very quickly. It's not a question of like he blows signals and then you're there going, okay, what was that for? He kind of has it straight out of the mouth. It's not rolling away, sealing off in at the side. It's very quickly, and he just basically said it's kind of his own style is kind of very is to my mind and to my ears it's quite matter of fact. Oh, just in at the side, penalty. It's not dramatic or anything like that. It's his own style, and look, who knows? Maybe given another couple of years, he could be refereeing internationals. That's the way he could be going, because I don't think there's any other referees that we have at the moment who are, Chris Busby wasn't great in the Munster the Munster Leinster match in Croker there recently. He had a bad day that day, missing out with the Munster being down two hookers. And not properly. He kind of missed the beat as regards the welfare of the player on the ground. It wasn't a good look for him. Anyway, that's all I'll say. But yeah, that's coming back to the Timony yellow card. I think he was just a touch high.
Yes, Peter Burke, give the carpet burns. We get it. I'll take your humour out of the time, will you, for God's sake? I'd Matt, come back to you on this one. How would you rate the performances of both Ulster and Leinster at that match if you're to rate them 1 out of 10? 1 being shy, 10 being very good.
Well, definitely neither of them were up at the 10 fucking mark anyway. So I would actually say Ulster's performance was probably generally better than Leinster's performance, but again, the quality that Leinster had, and even though they were down for most parts of the first half in that match, the substitutes that came on made a massive difference, and helped them get over the line. But I'd probably give Leinster maybe a 6 out of 10, maybe give Ulster 6.5 out of 10.
Peter Martin, your ratings for the overall?
Yeah, I'm not too far off as regards what Matt has said. Like, Leinster, would be about a 6, and Ulster would be 7, or at a stretch a 7.5. But again, it's down to the standards that we expect. We're so spoiled, I suppose, really with Leinster, that we expect a big show from them every single time. And I think the other thing as well is that we have when Leinster have all their big guns out, so it's all their Irish, all their full internationals there. We expect we're getting a performance there at when they really perform, we're getting at a 9 and a 9.5. Like, it's practically, it's right. It's international class. Like, it's test standard. When the same players don't perform, it's basically at an 8. And I feel for myself that when Leinster send out the team that they sent out on Friday night, and it was, it was the team that they put out. There's a significant drop off, I feel, and we end up, I think, collectively being disappointed. I think that's the way it is, and like that, it's a 6. But I think we have to kind of almost check ourselves and realize, hang on, we don't have this is the Leinster,
It isn't the big guns playing in the big match.
Second 15 plus a couple of others, and it's just not there. That's just a fact. It's just not there.
Yeah, but I suppose like anything, when you go down through seconds, thirds, and whatever various teams, you're going to see that difference there between your first and whatnot. One thing I've noticed as well online from Ulster supporters, they're saying their quality in front row at the moment over the weekend wasn't great. Was that down to injuries? Richard, ask you that one first.
Injuries and having, from a Leinster point of view, injuries and having how many front row forwards or how many forwards in the Irish setup, it was absolutely, it's going to suffer when you have 10, 12 players away playing internationally. Just the one player that did stand out for me when he came on, and this is rare praise for me, it's for a scrum half, was Fintan Gunn. I thought the game and ball speed picked up massively when he did come on. He stood out. He did stand out for me, and that's rare for me, given that I was a scrum half.
Yeah, actually, Richard, I asked you your ratings for the Ulster and Leinster game.
Much like the lads, it's not bad, but can improve. Is the only way you'd say. So it would be 6.
Like my report card for school years ago.
Yeah, well, stupid but savable was mine.
We'll move on, lads. Next up, we had Ireland, Australia. Ireland winning that one 22-19. Richard, I ask for your thoughts on that game.
Look, I had a feeling going into the game that it was going to be a tight game. I said to Sarah, my wife, that it won't be any more than 6 points going into it. I just had that feeling. Again, I was happy from the point of view as Ireland didn't give away that many penalties. It was something that needed to be addressed, and they did. The line out again was a little bit of a shambles, and unforced errors again, a little bit of a shambles. Look, they went out and they got the job done, and I'm happy. Delighted to see Cian Healy get the record. That was absolutely brilliant. And as someone pointed out today, they were talking about Jack Conan. In the calendar year, he's played every minute of the calendar year for Ireland this year. That's absolutely incredible when you look at the fitness of the man.
It's unbelievable.
And I did get to meet Peter Burke finally.
Did you? Were you at the match? I didn't know that.
I actually wasn't at the game. We were in Dublin, and we said we'd go out to the Harvard Park, and as it turns out, we were sitting in just after the match, and Burke kind of breezed in, as he does.
Yeah, just walks away in it, I suppose, doesn't he?
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, the greatest. He's been Russell's flags and everything like that, I suppose.
He had Finn Russell underwear on, I think.
They say, Richard, you should never meet your heroes, so we'll just leave it at that.
We don't have to worry about that one. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to Joe Lyons there. He wants to know where Baldy is. Mr. Burke is currently in the background. He's just getting his Finn Russell jammies ready for bed later on, so don't worry about that, Joe. Peter Martin, your thoughts on the Ireland-Australia game?
Yeah, it was a hell of a game. I had a few TV issues, so I missed the first 20 minutes of it. But look, it's. I suppose you could say that the second 40 minutes were probably amongst the best 40 minutes that Ireland had played throughout the entire Autumn Nation series. Again, we were poor. I don't know what. That's something that needs to be really kind of looked at, and it's a little bit worrying for me that the issues that were very apparent in the All Blacks game were never properly put to bed. Like we limped across the line in against Argentina, very easily could have lost that game. if we were being absolutely brutal, you could have said, well, we probably didn't deserve to win it. But look, we got across the line. We did the job against Fiji, but those same, there was the level of improvement I would have expected from that group of players after what happened in against the All Blacks. It's just concerning for me, and how that's going to be addressed or it's going to be resolved, come early February when we kick off. Six Nations will be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how Easterby takes that on and fixes it. Getting the players together and I suppose basically talking it out and deciding who's leading the change on the pitch, who's basically going to rectify, who's going to kick arses on the pitch, from the leadership group. Like Doris, certainly as captain, he has to be up there and show a side to him perhaps that isn't perhaps apparent to all of us. Maybe Peter O'Mahony still has a role to play. The angry bellowing board that somebody on social media said it's becoming part and parcel of an Irish performance where there's a few things going wrong. You see him roaring and bawling at those around him, and he gets the ante up, and we start seeing things happening. Overall, though, look, Prendergast is played his part. Crowley came on, finished the game, brought something different when he came on. Look, Australia, it's incredible, like really what Schmidt has did with Australia. They're the most improved team in 2024. I think he's probably a better coach now than he was when he was with us. I think the Australians have always tried to play with a level of heads up, smart rugby, and I think Schmidt has basically perhaps through his experience, has realised, look, we can't basically go too prescriptive, like putting giving them, planning every 5 and 6 phases, like let's do our starter plays 1-2 phase, and after that, right, lads, you're the 50, you're the best 23 in the golden green of Australia. Go fucking play, like. So
I didn't actually realise that Schmidt had blooded something like 46 players.
Yeah.
It's insane. It also goes to show you how bad of a coach Eddie Jones is. That's
But come on, Eddie Jones is Eddie Jones.
Well, yeah. But he's piss poor, like.
Yeah, but Pierre Burke coming in there saying that Doris has played 880 minutes this year.
Yeah.
Of the 880 minutes for Ireland, which is an insane amount of minutes.
Yeah.
So you don't see that with all the players. Matt, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, look, I mean, it was a great game, and this was always going to be that one that was a potential banana skin because of the Joe Schmidt effect, and the fact, that Joe Schmidt knows all the players, the majority of them players going back years ago when he was coaching, and even you could see the difference he actually brought to New Zealand last year as well in that quarterfinal. And I was genuinely worried about this game. And I actually had to laugh because the bookies actually favoured Ireland by 14 points, which I don't know where they were getting that from. And generally speaking, when you hear statistics like that from bookies, they're rarely wrong because they don't want to lose money. But like that was way out. I knew that this was going to be a tight game. You look at the previous 3 wins with Australia before that game on Saturday were all within a point. We're all within a score. So
yeah,
I knew myself. I knew if we were going to do it and play well, we'd do it. But I knew it was going to be a score in it. And again, 3 points is a drop goal or a penalty could have easily, given that a different or given the impetus for Australia to go out and win it. And at the end of that game, it looked like that they were pushing and pushing and pushing, and only through sheer good defence that Ireland got through. But just wanted, like, as Peter Martin said, like that second half was probably the best performance of the whole series. Now for me, the line out was absolutely atrocious again. And
Yeah.
that really needs to be addressed going into this Six Nations, or we could easily end up fourth, you know. And if that does happen and we end up having a disastrous Six Nations, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely a start of something that needs to be rectified. And I think it's probably an easy fix to get it sorted now within the next few months or before the Six Nations and in the Six Nations. And we got to remember, we're up against England first game. You know, that's going to be tough. You know, now I know England are no shakes whatsoever, and we have them at home, but we definitely don't want to be losing to England at home. You know,
especially in the opener as well.
Especially in the opener, and like, and that's just disastrous. We don't want that to happen. But obviously, we're just gonna continue on. But look, again, some good performances in that match, and I think there was a lot of handling errors as well. I think there was maybe 18 or 19 handling errors. Finlay Bealham, I think the first 3 or 4 attempts he got to catch a pass, he dropped. You know, Lowe had a reasonable enough game, but again, there was a couple of errors that he had, but his performance wasn't as bad because I think there was a couple of tries that we left out in the park there as well, and we definitely had the ability to maybe do that 14-point turnaround, as the bookies were saying. But, you know, if the handling was perfect and lineouts were perfect and like, it could have been an absolutely different game. Sam Prendergast, I thought, didn't put a foot wrong, and I thought he was probably one of the better players on the pitch, bar his slip where he missed the 2-point conversion. His kicking was impeccable. He had a crossfield kick to Lowe, and they are just so hard to get pinpoint accurate. And the fact when he hit that ball, it was so calmly and dropped and kicked beautifully that Lowe actually ran onto the ball and caught it, kind of nearly full flight. That's so hard to do. And
it's a thing of beauty when it comes off. Thing of beauty.
When it happens, you just go, "Ooh, yeah!" You know, it was brilliant. Like his line kicking down the line was fantastic. So he did really well. Have to say though, when he went off and they substituted and got Crowley and Casey on, they came on and they really fucking brought some electricity to that game. And I think them coming on had kind of changed the team and got the team over the line at the end. So when you're Andy Farrell, you're sitting up and you have 2 quality 10s like that and 2 quality 9s in the half pair, and you're kind of rubbing your hands going, this is fucking great. This is a great position to be in, to go, shit, do I give it to Crowley and Casey, or do I go fucking Gibson Park and Prendergast? Because that's awesome. What I'd like to see now is getting them interchanged with each other. You know, Gibson Park probably had the worst game he's had all series, but again, wasn't terrible. You know, he wasn't on it. You could see by it he wasn't on it, and I don't know if that was the Australian marshalling him really well or man marking him or whatever, but he didn't have a great game. But look, I mean, there is positives to take out of that game. You know, like you said, that second half was as best Ireland did all series, which hopefully will kind of continue on momentum wise into the Six Nations. But yeah, really happily overall. But just the few bits and pieces, the lineouts need to get sorted and the handling errors need to stop. But I'm glad. Go on.
Actually, funny you mentioned that, because Joe Lyons' comment on the screen. If you look at where we've had issues, it's the handling errors on attack and the penalty count. If you look at our defence over 4 games, we've conceded 1 try a game, with 2 in Argentina. Compare that to France, 2 per game, Scotland 3, and England 4. We need to stop the silly errors and nor the pens to do that. We're back to where we need to be.
Absolutely, and he's spot on. But their discipline penalty wise was vastly improved from the weeks previous. So they're on the right track with the discipline, which is great. So that's
Mike She raises a good point here. This is another question I want to ask. The first half, Ireland were very poor, but second half, the game was better because Jack was Casey into a game with a few more players. Ireland win. We need to put those players on Six Nations 2025 to win. Did that substitution really have that much of an impact in the game? I'll start with you there, Matt.
Yeah, well, you could definitely see the difference in the pace of the game when Crowley and Casey came on. And Joe has made a good point, but I think the momentum had started in the second half, even before they came on, that they were kind of getting their mindset right. They were kind of, it was as if they were slowly picking up the ante, but them just coming on at the right time just improved that and got them over the line. So, like, it was definitely a really good timed penalties or substitution, because they just kicked on from there. And then you could see for the Gus McCarthy try, like, as the maul was going at the line out, you could see Casey was there, and he flew into that maul, ready for the ball to get it going out the backs if needed. But then obviously they got the push on, and Gus McCarthy mauled over for the try. But like, they definitely, there's no doubt about it that they didn't make an impact when they came on. 100% they did.
Richard, go ask you this one. Fixing your line out, would that have something to do with Dan Sheehan coming back? What he brings?
That's a tough one, because there was one of them and they were up on the line. Australia didn't even compete, and they must have completely fucked up the call because they didn't even go up for it. I think it could have been,
that was a missed call.
Yeah, it was just that's not really something you can coach. That's just a stupid mistake. It's a brain fart, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just one of these things, you know. But yeah, look, we know how good of a thrower Sheehan is, but you know, you can't be a hooker if you can't throw the ball in the modern game. So we have the players to do it. It's just a matter of ironing out the little kinks and all the little shitty mistakes. Which okay, players do make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I'll hold my hand up and I'll say that, but it's something that we can fix, and I think it will be fixed.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Lyons makes a very good point there, 100%. But Sheehan is an excellent thrower, which missing him and Furlong was massive. And without a doubt, the two of them for the series was definite fucking. They were definitely missed, you know. But I think we're better in the hooker scenario rather than the props. You know, once either Porter or Furlong's gone, you're kind of down to shit. Who are we throwing on, lads?
Yeah.
Pierre Mander, a good one for you now. Does Paul Conlon need to work more with his line out? Let's say without Sheehan and Furlong, to see who's stepping up and who's getting the calls, right? Who's calling the line out before the throw, in terms of sorting them out. Timing issue.
Look, at the end of the day, for me, like when a line out doesn't function properly, unless the ball coming in, unless the throw is signaled as crooked from the hooker, I'm not gonna blame the hooker, right? Yeah. Because that's literally an isolated piece of what he has to do is throw the ball in. He throws it in and it's crooked, it's on the hooker. The rest is, for me, is primarily on the moving parts, because the line out has gone where it's gone now, where it's basically, I always, in my head, always have it's like a dance. There's 2 steps forward, 3 steps. They're constantly moving forward, moving back. There's always a dummy pod in the line out, and it's a question of Tracy basically saying, right, this is the dummy pod, but this is where we're going, and it's a question of, you know, trying to get it absolutely spot on. Like there's an awful lot going on in there. Like this, you know, it's a tough one it's quite technical, right? One thing I would say is I think it's actually very worrying that we're still having this issue beyond the World Cup. I'm starting to doubt whether O'Connell long term is going to be there. Being perfectly honest, because like, it can't be a question of, like, you know, our line-out functions only when certain players are fit. We have to be able to get the line-out to function. If we're missing half our regular, our top 4, if we're missing, Tyg Byrne calls the line-out, okay? James Ryan calls the line-out. Joe McCarthy doesn't call it. Ian Henderson has called the line-out. Peter O'Mahony. Peter O'Mahony is, let's call a spade a spade. He's not going to be there for the World Cup, okay?
No.
Question mark over Henderson. So that leaves you with James Ryan and Tadhg Byrne. Someone else has to come in there as another second row and coddle it. Now, Ryan Baird, as far as I know, has taken on a bit of that responsibility in the last season or so with Leinster. And within Leinster, it's going well. Has he got the ability and the confidence and so on to do it international level? That's to be seen, because he's not getting in. He's not getting selected regularly, as a starting player at Ireland. He's an impact player off the bench. So I think that's something that perhaps needs to be really, really kind of looked at and considered. The other thing as regards the second row is that, like, Henderson had a stinker of Autumn Nations. Like, I thought he was absolutely awful. And it's not the first time he's come into the Irish team and, he given away penalties. It's like, I would have a major question mark over him in a green jersey, even going into the Six Nations next year, unless there's a significant injury issue. I'd be certainly looking at other players in the provinces, Thomas Ahern, and others, to basically step up and really push for starting places, because I just think we're at the stage now where we need to start looking at
but now
alternative options running.
Now is the time, because we're
sorry, what was that?
Now is the time, because we're in that World Cup cycle now where we need to start looking at all the other options, and we know
absolutely, you're absolutely right, Matt. Like the Six Nations,
So as you say,
like
the Six
Nations coming up, like we I think it's it's fair to say that, like, we've already touched on Crowley and Prendergast for potentially being interchangeable. Absolutely, 100%. I see that being the space going forward, but we also need to look at the line and who's going to call it into 2025 as well, because I do think this is not going to go away in a rush, and it needs to be really taken on. I do think it's going to be a challenge for Easterby.
Yeah. Quick question, quick yes or no question for all of you, and this is to do with Scarborough 2 tons come. No offense to Kelleher, but everyone, Gus McCarthy has come the line out, has functioned better. Has McCarthy jumped Kelleher now in the Irish setup? Yes or no? Matt?
No.
Not
just yet, but there's always a but to everything.
Yeah.
If he keeps going the way he is, then questions will be asked. But again, like, Kelleher's been there for such a long time, and he's been number 2 to Sheehan for a long time. You can't just throw in a rookie ahead of him. Do you know what I mean? He needs time. But again, Six Nations at that time. Get him out into the Six Nations. Get him playing fucking England and France or 20 minutes, either off the bench or whatever, and maybe give him a match against Italy or Wales probably at this stage. Wouldn't really matter.
And another name to throw into that in the front row would be Clarkson.
Absolutely.
So it needs to develop players along there, which needs to be done, but everything needs to function as well. Moving on to the next match, I suppose, as we had the Bulls 28, Connacht 14. Peter Martin, did you see that match?
No, and I don't think I would have wanted to have seen it.
Richard Holland?
No, but I was talking to my dad about it, and he said it was an absolutely fucking shite game. He said Connacht just didn't show up. They were absolutely abysmal.
Yeah. Matt, did you see that
didn't show up?
No, next question.
Actually, funny enough, there was 2 red cards in that match, both for number 8 of either team. Jensen and Gumidi. And to be honest with you, did any of you see the Gumidi red card?
We did, actually. It was a red. It was as red a card you'll ever see, and yet you've still got some idiots, Safa idiot fans, basically saying the game's gone soft. It's like, they must have been drunk or high or something, because, like, we all know it has always been a case if you put hands to the face, raise your hands to the face on a rugby pitch, you're looking at red.
I had seen something like, was this an eye gouge?
Yeah.
Yes, he would like something like that. His hands
Well,
look like that's his face.
No, it's
Hand was in his
scumbag
face.
move.
The law is simple. Like, don't touch the face, but it also says like the eye or eye area, right? Your eye area is pretty much your whole fucking face. So like, this is not something new. And what annoys me about these Safa fucking keyboard warriors is half of them have only jumped on the bandwagon. Probably most of them haven't fucking played rugby or haven't even known the sport. But because they're doing so well, they've all just fucking clung onto it and gone, yeah, we're the fucking best in the world, and they know everything. But that's my point. Now, in saying that, I'm not casting every Safa fan like to the win. There are lots of them, and I mean lots of them that know their stuff and are very respectful and come on and go, yeah, hands up, yeah, that was shit, that was bad, like so.
It's just few bad eggs.
It's just like, there's fucking 100 million South Africans. Do you know what I mean? So
but
a lot of them.
Go near the eyes has always been sacrosanct in rugby. You don't do
100%.
it. That's going back for the last 50, 60 years. You just don't do it.
Yeah, it's that's one of those laws that have always been in place, and it's a no. Hand to the face, red card. End of story.
Yeah. Joe Lyons in there as well. There you go. Positivity. 2 10s and 2 9s. The moaning, bitching because one player was rotated. Then these games were to try give others a shot to build it. You people bitching and moaning a bit too much, I suppose is what he's trying to say. But yeah.
No, we said this at length before. You know, when teams are picked, not everyone is going to be happy about it, and everybody's going to feel a grudge that somebody's been left out. But like I've said before, when these guys are training in camp and they're trying to get onto the team, and Farrell's picking the best that he thinks will win the game, and that's all it is. And if he thinks Crowley over Prendergast or Prendergast over Crowley, it's just down to performance and down to Farrell's opinion that I think he's going to win this game for us. It's that simple.
I mean, I just with my Munster hat on, was I disappointed that Crowley didn't start? Yes, I was. But Pendergrass is a talent, and do I understand why Andy Farrell done what Andy Farrell done? Absolutely, I do. He needed to look at the boy and see exactly what he's capable of, and I think he did show him. I think Pendergrass had a great game.
But you know yourself, Richie, like throwing Prendergast on to get against. Now, I'm not disrespecting Italy or any lesser team, but he needs to get test standard level, you know. And the only way of getting that experience is to be fucked in the deep end, and that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, against tier one opposition.
Yeah.
100%. But like you see a lot of people bitching and moaning about your players not playing and saying, "Oh, this player should be playing, that player should be playing." It's the coach's decision at the end of the day. We all have players we'd like to see starting. We all have our 23s we'd like to see. But like this, it's the way we see the game and the combinations and how we'd want to play it. The four of us could come up with 4 completely different 23s.
Yeah, we don't know what the players are showing in training either. We don't know what the players are showing Andy Farrell in training.
Yeah.
But neither do any of these other fuckers as well, like, and that's what pisses me off. You know, like, I know from my playing days, if I went training on Tuesday and Thursday and I didn't show a good account of myself, I wasn't getting a jersey at the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and like that, you didn't turn up for training or miss training, you didn't get a jersey.
I left the country for pre-season. That was the only thing I used to do.
Pre-season, Richard, we know what pre-season is for props. It's beer and bacon, right? Copious amounts of both. That's all pre-season is to props.
Perfect, Carmen, away you go. Hey.
Joe Lyons in there again. One thing I've noticed with teams playing us, and over the past year, is teams are messing the line-out players in and out, crossing and closing the gap and creating complete mayhem. Quite a bit of what gets us to where we are is a solid line-out team have targeted that in a big way. We need to somehow bring to the officials the shithousery that has taken place.
I'm going to jump in here. I have said this on numerous occasions beforehand, and South Africa in the World Cup in the group stage match were doing that on every line out. They just keep encroaching and closing the gap. But this is where I think you need the likes of a Johnny Sexton or a Peter O'Mahony that's got that bit of a dog in him as a captain and go, they're closing the gap. Will you fucking watch them? Like, and
Yeah.
you can actually see the hooker. He's given his mark to throw the line out in, and all of a sudden he's taking a fucking step, and he's taking another step because they're fucking encroaching. And again, I think it's up to the captain to. I'm not throwing Doris under the bus at all here, but I think as the time goes on and as he gets more experience as captain, these things he will start doing. You know, he's on his feet.
That and a shout from the hooker going, no, look, what am I meant to do here? They're stepping over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You basically the hooker on the pitch.
You know yourself, the hooker, the linesman is standing right behind you. You could just fucking turn around and go, here,
What's going on here, lad? Come on, move on.
You're going to end up fucking 10 yards down the fucking field if they keep going.
I think, to be honest, lads, what's an awful lot of what's going on there is a combination of what you've said, but also when it comes to the way Ireland are using the line out is that they really don't want to get involved in, you know, kind of a catch and drive. If you notice that the only time we generally use the line out maul is basically when we're kicking to the corner. Yeah. That's the only time we use it. Other than that, it's basically, other than that, we're literally looking to use the line out to get in and out. If you see, we're very slow to get set. You know the way there's the rule basically that World Rugby have brought in saying you've only got, 15 seconds to get one from the time line out is ball is kicked and the line out is indicated. You've got restricted time to get in and get the ball in. I think from what I can see is, I think what Ireland are looking to do is delay it as long as possible. Like basically, we're walking the thin line as regards the length of time for us to get our guys in, and then the movement, up, ball, and out, and gone. They're trying to basically get the timing absolutely right. There's no going to be the longer you notice that when Ireland fuck up the line out, it's when we're there too long.
Yeah.
We're there too long, and there's too much jumping. It's forward, it's back, and next all of a sudden the ball goes over the top, and the fucking opposition open side is he's making yards against the 10. That's where basically it's a thin line they're trying to get. So that basically from the moment the line out is called, right, it's kind of the clock starting to tick, right, 15, 14, 13, right, get in, up, ball in, bang, gone, we're done, and let's play, go through the phases. Ireland are clearly not comfortable with that, and I think that's why you've got the likes of England and France and South Africa will start throwing the hands up in the air and saying, come on, get in. And when they are there, then there's shithousery closing the gap in the hall because they know that totally upsets us.
Yeah. Gregor Galway about the red card from the Bulls player as well. The Bulls player will hopefully get a long ban as well. Alan Dorman as well still doesn't explain the Calvin Nash situation. I suppose about not getting any game time, is it?
The only thing I'll say about that is you drop James Lowe. Do you drop Mac? What do you do? Like, you can only
look. That's ultimately down to the training during the week.
Exactly.
Nash is not basically shown as best.
Exactly, but and Nash was in the pre-tournament fucking squad, so the 36 or whatever, or however many he named. So again, like, none of us are there, none of us are in camp, none of us are seeing what's training, what's going on. So at the end of the day, we still have to trust Andy Farrell that he's picking the best team. And
I do like Nash. I will put that out there. I think he's a great player.
I think Nash is a fantastic player. He is. He's fucking quick. He's pacey. He's good in attack, good in defense. There's nothing wrong with the lad. But
who did you drop?
Farrell's not seeing something.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Scarrow 2-2 in again. No problem with Pendergast starting. Needed to test him against the Tier 1 nation. But Farrell's comment that Crowley and Frawley needed to work on their game wasn't smart. Played into the media hysteria. Comments like that need to be kept in-house between the coach and the players. Bad form also that Frawley appears to be the fall guy for his uncharacteristic errors against the All Blacks. A lot of players had a poor game that day. Yeah, there's not much argument with that.
No.
Yeah, no, it's right.
Yeah. Comes to Station. Yeah.
The only thing I will say about that, he could be trying to give the light of fire under the two lads' arses by saying it.
Oh,
maybe,
Farrell's the type of coach that he's not going to say something without a reason to say it. I.e., give them the fire in their belly to get shit right and get back on the team. You know. But from what Tony said there, he's pretty much back.
You can be sure that Frawley in particular probably knows exactly. I'd say the detail is there that he knows exactly what is been expected of him between now and February in order to get in. I think it's fair to say, bar an injury, which he's got plenty of, and he's been unlucky in that space. I think you can definitely see is Frawley's definitely going to be in the Six Nations squad for next, without a shadow of a doubt. It's just going to be interesting to see where he fits in the Leinster team over the next number of weeks. That's going to be the most interesting thing we'll see.
Yeah, and I think Peter, that's going to be the most exciting thing to see, because whatever happens within the Leinster, you can be sure that's come down from probably the Ireland camp to go, he needs more time here so we can have him, you know. And look, Frawley's a great player, without a doubt. You know, he was everybody's hero in South Africa, and then he's everybody's villain against fucking New Zealand. And we all know, playing a game, you can have a great game one weekend and have a shit game the next weekend. It's very hard. It's very hard, especially at that level that these guys are performing day in, day out to keep at that level. And once one thing happens, it's very hard to get it out of your mind, because that's all you fucking think about is the last catcher dropped, last catcher dropped, last catcher dropped.
Nest there, nest.
And it sticks in your head, and you're so desperate to make it not happen again that you're overthinking it, and then you're not looking at the ball and you miss it again. Do you know what I mean? And you can't be given out, but obviously if it's a repeated process, then we need to be worrying. But look, you know,
Joe Lyons making a good comment there. Come Six Nations, Crawley will be starting and Sam on the bench, but now we know if he's needed that he can deliver. I suppose
point as well.
I suppose
I wouldn't say that's set in stone by any stretch, but anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that develops.
The end of the day is he needs to get more time at 10 at Leinster. That's we're saying the same. We're saying the same thing about Frawley. That's been said as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose to finish up with the last game, Munster versus Lions. Munster win that one 17 points to 10. Peter, you didn't see that game, did you?
No.
Richard, did you see it?
Yeah, we were very, 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 very lucky.
Yeah.
What can we say? Billy Burns again. He's just not it. Like, there was a kick, I would have fucking kicked it, and he missed it. You know, for points. He was 22 meters out, straight in front of the post, and he shanked it. You know, it's just fucking. For a professional 10, that's bread and butter. That's what you kick.
He's stealing a living.
Absolutely.
At the top level.
Now, he's a nice lad, and he's a good kind of second string provincial player, but that's about all he is. There's no way he's a starting 10 in any professional rugby team that's out there.
It's an insult. It'll be an insult to many an AIL top tier, an AIL 10, but that's his level, unfortunately. He's basically, you know, how many times has he been man of the match? He's been man of the match, to my knowledge, a couple of times when Ulster managed to turn over Leinster. And
it's like
I haven't seen him basically lead a team in a real kind of sense where he's directed a team around the park. The way, you know, Jack Crowley's done it, Sexton's done it, other 10s, even JJ Hammer in Connacht.
Even Pendergast, you'll see him doing it.
Yeah. He doesn't direct the team. He's a bit of a bag of tricks as a 10, but not.
It's my father says he's not a kicking 10 and he's not a ball playing 10. So what is he? You know,
he's made a very good point there.
Yeah.
It's an excellent question, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie, that one. Matt, you didn't see the Munster game, did you?
I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't.
I have one question there, lads. I'll put this out to you anyway. What's the return policy on Billy Burns to Ulster? Does anyone know?
No deposit, no return.
No, I was just about to say the same thing.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah,
does he fit in those machines outside Little Aldi?
He's
I don't think
small
we'll
enough.
even get 15 cent for him.
I could probably make him fit.
No, but like, to be honest with you, Richard, your dad made a good point. He doesn't seem to direct the traffic. He doesn't seem to know what to do with kicking. And so would he been better off just maybe as an inside centre or something?
He's too
that
small
way.
for that. He's actually too small for it. That's the thing about it. He's not that big of a player. So at inside centre, he'd be absolutely
He'd be
manhandled. He'd be made bits of.
Yeah, he'd be battered.
Maybe full back, last line of defence.
No, he can't. He's not great at tackling either. That's the problem.
Yeah.
What was it?
He's a good left back on the bench.
Yeah, but like, to be honest, was our moderator Tim Kilpatrick said when Billy Burns was the Ulster that Billy Burns can tackle the fish stuffer. So they all why put him at full back? Jola or Scarrow two-tone in there again. Probably on the bench for me. Maybe stand for Italy game next year. Basically, kind of agreeing with Matt there on that one. Joe Lyons again. Only way I can see Sam start 6 stations will be getting all European games and playing well. I can see Crowley starting in England, Scotland, France games with Sam in for Wales and Italy. Yeah,
possibility. Yeah.
That's probably the way to go.
I think it's fair to say though there's a little bit of clarity coming to the 10 jersey in Leinster.
Yeah.
I think there is.
With what's happened over the November period between the two Byrne brothers starting A games, and now you see that apparently Ross is on the cusp of signing a depending on if these rumours are true or not, but Montpellier want Ross, and apparently he's due to sign.
Well, you know yourself, lads. There's no smoke.
We'll just wait and see.
Yeah. Either that or he has a great age and put that out there. So
Yeah, but you see that with every player. Yeah, just try to get him a bit more money, a bit more game time, regardless where they're going. Unfortunately, Scarrood, we have to agree with you. Billy Burns not going to the line. Sorry to disappoint.
I have more chance of going to the fucking Lions tour than fucking Billy Burns has.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Depends on what lines you're talking about.
Everett Lions, maybe. Everyone was saying, everyone was saying Munster not to win. I said it Wednesday night. Munster will win this Saturday. Munster will do it again. European Championship Cup never write Munster off. Jesus, I'm not sure about that one now.
It's going to depend on
who's available.
We don't have a front row at the moment, and it's an issue because Ollie Yeager he's stepping up his return, but he's another 3 weeks away. We signed 2 medical joker props, so that'll tell you what sort of condition that we are in. In the front row.
There was a lot of injuries going on over the weekend. Even in the Ulster camp, I can see there was a lot of injuries there as well. But in looking at Ulster now, they've got that sevens player. Zach Ward, and I think like with the way things are going with the injuries up there, he could get in, and he's a fucking unit, that lad, and he showed it down. He showed it down on the Emerging Ireland tour, that scored a try in his first game in the Emerging Ireland. So
he took it and finished it exceptionally well as well.
Yeah, so he's definitely a one to watch now coming up, and I really hope he does get a chance to show himself. And I know he's on trial, so I'm hoping now he'll get a contract as well.
Yeah, Dave Topping in there were a good comment. I know Dave, he's a good Ulster man as well. We just need props at Ulster, even with Tom O'Toole back. Yeah, we're kind of more the same thing with down Munster, except replace Tom O'Toole with Ollie Yeager. We're really struggling down there, but I'd say we've been struggling down there for a bit anyway.
There was a case a couple of weeks ago that Munster had to name so they could fill the bench a tight headed loosehead, an academy player at that, because I had no one else to fill the short. He'd never played loosehead, so if he had to come on, you would have been looking at uncontested scrums. That's how threadbare they are. That's not a good sign for any team, Joe, when you're looking at that sort of situation at the moment.
I suppose since we've all the games covered, and I suppose we call it tonight for this week. Matt Bowen,
Good man, Barry, with you.
Richard Holland, nice to have you with us.
No
You too,
bother,
Peter
man.
Martin. Yeah, for the people that commented, thank you for joining us. We had Peter Burke working in the background tonight anyway with us.
Our
keeping us
producer.
updated with that one.
Our producer.
Yeah. It's the first time he's produced anything good, I suppose. But lads, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
No
Thank
bother,
you,
guys.
guys. See you next week,
Thanks,
lads.
Andy.
You're